we are going to look at public budgets, public sector budgets, and budgetary control system. Public sector budgets and budgetary control system. That is the topic we are looking at this morning. So, what is public sector budgets? What is budgetary control system? Budget, as we all know, is one of the managerial tools that managers use to evaluate the performance of an organization, and is one of the managerial tools that is used to plan against optimal utilization of organization resources. So, what do we mean by these budgets? Budgets, according to the CIMA, Chartered Institute of Management of Accountants, UK, they define budgets as a planned, quantified in monetary terms. Budget is a plan what? Quantified in monetary terms. It is prepared and approved prior to a defined period of time, usually a year, and it shows the planned income to be generated and expenditure to be incurred during the period, and the capital to be employed to attain a given objective. So budget, let me repeat again, is a plan quantified in monetary terms, prepare and approve prior to a defined period of time, showing the planned income to be generated and the expenditure to be incurred during that period, and what? Capital to be employed to attain a given objective. That simply means budget. Budget, in a nutshell, what budget means is your projection of income and expenditure for the next fiscal year. When we relate it to public sector accounting, the projection of government income and expenditure for the next what? For the next fiscal year. That is what budget means. Now, what are the uses of budget or benefit of budget? What benefit do we tend to derive from budget or the uses of budget? Number one, budgets are used for planning. We can use, when we relate it to public sector accounting, government can use budget to plan their resources so that there can be optimization of resources, so that they can achieve the objective they are planning to achieve at the right time. So budget is a planning tool. Another one, budget can be used as a means of communication to the citizen. Government can use budget to communicate the program that they are doing, the project that they are doing, the project that they intend to do, that government intend to do in the future. They can use budget to communicate as a means of communication of what plan, what program does government have in the next coming year. So through the budget, take for instance now, 2026 budget is going to be prepared and approved in this 2025 we have. With that 2026 budget, when we see the projection, we can see that this is what government is planning to do in the next year. So the citizen, the general public can be aware of the plan of government. It will help them to make their own personal decision. It will help them to ensure that they key into the key critical sector of the economy. You understand? So that is another uses or benefit of budget. Budget serve as a motivation tools. We use budget to motivate when we relate it to public sector. Government can use budget to motivate civil servants. Civil servants. How? It can use them by saying that in the next year, the salary, the minimum wage will increase from 70,000 to 100,000 to 300,000. We plan to train more civil servants. We plan to send them to overseas training. We plan to give them to give their children scholarship. We are planning to ensure that we have a modified pension, contributory pension scheme. So all this will be communicated in the government budget. All this will be communicated. So it will motivate the government side, the civil servants to perform more, to play more role, to ensure that government achieve the objective. So these are one of the benefits or uses of budget. Another one, budget serve as a standard for measurement of performance. Government use budget to measure performance. Performance of the government can be measured through budget. Government performance can be measured through what? Through budget. So one of the performance measurements of government is budget. So in this budget, government will have a planned income, they will have a planned expenditure. So at the end of the year, we are going to compare the planned income with the actual income. We are going to compare the planned expenditure with the actual expenditure to ensure that any deviation, any variation is being corrected or there is an improve. So we need to know what are the causes of those variations we have. So all this will be mentioned in the budget. So budget serve as a standard for measurement of what? Performance. We use budget for measurement of government performance. So budget too can be used as an evaluation of economic and social policy. If government want to evaluate some of those policy, some of the economic policy, like subsidy, like tax, like price control, you understand? So all these economic policy engaged by government, if government want to evaluate them, they can evaluate them through budgets. So these are one of the objectives of government budget or benefit of government budget. So another uses or benefit of government budget that we have is government budget can be used as a cost reduction techniques. If government want to reduce the cost, the expenditure, either recurrent expenditure or capital expenditure, if they want to reduce it, they can reduce it through budget. In what sense? They will have a budget. They will ensure that the expenditure that they plan in the budget is not more than what they will be spending in a real sense. So they will ensure that they control their expenditure based on what was stated in the budget. So that is another benefit or uses of budget. In another way, we look at it, all these points I mentioned is being summarized in a brief way, which I call it purpose of government budget. Why does government prepare budget? So it's still the same point that I'm trying to mention. The same those points I mentioned earlier, they are still the same, but I'm trying to summarize them to just keep them in a key form. So, purpose of government budget, like we all know, budget is a useful guide for allocation of available resources. Government use budget to allocate available resources. Budget, they also use it as a means of accountability. So government use budget as a means of accountabilities. So those are the part of uses or benefits of government budget. Now, what are the necessary conditions for successful budget? What are the necessary conditions for successful budget? If you want to have a successful budget, if those budget that government plan want to be successful, what are the necessary conditions? What are the necessary conditions for those successful budget? One of the necessary conditions for successful budget is what? Top management support. Top what? Management support. If a budget that government plan, the budget that government prepare, if those budget want to be successful, the top management have to support it. Who are the top management? The permanent secretary, the ministers, the director general, the chairman of Federal Inland Revenue, the head of any agency. They are the top management. If head of the government agency.
Yes,
Hello, can you hear me?
We've
Okay,
not been
okay.
hearing
we
you
can
before,
hear
but
you
we
now.
can hear you now.
The network is so I have to adjust the network. So we are in necessary condition for successful budget. One of them is what? Top management support. Top management, they have to support the budget. Have to support the budget. Secondly, while preparing the budget, we need to involve line management, which is the second condition for successful budget. Involvement of line manager. We need to involve the line managers. Another condition for successful budget that we have is appropriate accounting and information system. If we want a budget to be successful, we need to have a good accounting and what? Information system. We need to have a good accounting software that we can insert those budgets that can help us to monitor those budgets. So appropriate accounting and information system is one of the necessary conditions for successful budget. Another one is the budget. Another condition for successful budget is that budget the budget should be flexible, administer. If you want to administer the budget, that budget should be flexible enough. It should not be rigid. It should be changing from time to time based on the reality in the economy, based on the economic circumstances, based on the economic policies. That budget should go in line with government economic policy. So that one too is very important for a good or successful budget. Another one is realistic organization structure. There have to be a clear line, clear reporting line, clear line of responsibility. We have to have an organization structure where every staff, every member have a clear reporting line that you know that this is the person I'm reporting to, so that there will not be conflict of what? Interest. Another condition for successful budget is clear defined long-term corporate objective. There must be clearly defined long-term corporate objective. This is strategic planning. The long-term planning, the long-term objective of the organization must be clearly stated. The mission, the vision, all those must be stated clearly so that anytime we are preparing our budget, we should ensure that we will know that we are working our budget towards achieving the long-term goals or long-term objective. So these are the conditions. And the last one is regular budget review when necessary. Our budget should not be something that is static. When there is need for correction or there is need for review, we need to review the budget. We need to review the budget. You understand? We need to review the budget. So these are the conditions for successful budget. Now, the next area we need to look at is function of Ministry of Budget and Planning. What are the functions of Ministry of Budget and Planning? The Ministry of Budget and Planning, let me just explain what they do first. They are the one in charge of preparation of government budgets. This Ministry of Budget and Planning is formerly called Department of Budget and Planning. They are formally under Ministry of Finance. But as I'm talking to you right now, they are now a full-fledged ministry called Ministry of Budget. So they are called Ministry of Budget and Planning. So one of the functions of this Ministry of Budget and Planning, this ministry, they have a key role, they have a vital role in government budget. Anytime government want to prepare budget, like now, in the next 2 months or next 1 month now, we'll be talking of the Nigeria government, federal government or state government, they will be talking of 2026 budget. Who is going to coordinate all those budgets prepared by government? It is the Minister of Budget and Planning. Who is going to consolidate it? It is the Ministry of Budget and Planning. So they have a vital role, a key role to play in government budget. Have a key role and vital role to play in what? In government budget. So now, what are the functions of this Ministry of Budget and Planning? One of the functions of Ministry of Budget and Planning is developing a reasonable economic assumption and focus. Ministry of Budget and Planning, they need to develop a reasonable what? Economic assumption and what? Focused. What plan? What does government need to achieve in the next coming year? How do we generate revenue? How do we want our economy to look like in the next coming year? So develop a reasonable economic consumption and what? Focus is one of the functions of ministries of budget and planning. Another function of Ministry of Budget and Planning is what? Issuing budget guideline to the ministry and extra ministerial departments. They issue budget guideline to the ministry and what? Extra ministerial department. How government budget work is each ministry, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Work, Ministry of Transportation, every ministry, they will prepare their own budget. Who is going to give them guideline how they will prepare their budget? It is the Ministry of Budget and Planning. NIMASA is a government agency. It's an extra ministerial department. NPA, Nigeria Port Authority, is an extra ministerial department. PAN, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, is an extra ministerial. Then too, they prepare their own personal budget. They prepare their budget. But the guideline on how to prepare those budgets is going to be issued by ministries of budget and what? Planning. Another function of this Ministry of Budget and Planning is this Ministry of Budget and Planning they act as what? As a liaison officer. They liaise between the presidency, the ministry, and extra ministerial. Another function of budget and planning is what? Compiling total revenue and expenditure estimates. Ministry of Budget and Planning, they compile the total government revenue. They also compile total government expenditure estimates. So it's one of their functions. One of the functions of Ministry of Budget and Planning is what? Drafting budget speech. By the time government, the president or the governor want to present budget to the National Assembly, the president, governor have to make a budget speech at the presentation of that budget to the National Assembly. That budget speech is called the planning of the next year, the economy planning of the next fiscal year. Who is going to do it? It's going to be drafted by the Ministry of Budget and Planning because it's one of their function, one of their role. Another function, please, let's try to mute our audio. You are distracting the class. Another function of Ministry of Budget and Planning that we have is what? Supervising and controlling the implementation of budget. Ministry of Budget and Planning, they supervise and control the implementation of budget. After the budget has been signed into law, the next thing is we need to implement the budget by releasing funds to the various ministries and agencies. Who is going to ensure that that is possible? It is the Ministry of Budget and Planning. They ensure that we implement the budget. Secondly, when fund is released to aid the ministry and department, what is stated in the budget that they want to use the fund for? They want to use it to construct Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. Once they release fund to Ministry of Work, they need to ensure that the job is done. Who is going to supervise? Who is going to ensure that they implement that? Ministry of Budget and Planning have to follow them up by ensuring that since money has been released to them, fund has been released to them, implement the budget, ensure that there is an action plan. So Ministry of Budget and Planning have that role to perform. They assess the impact of the budget on the economy. Every year, government prepare budget. We have been preparing budget since 1999. There is 1999 budget, 2000 budget. What those budgets that government is preparing every year, if the government is serious, it should be having impact on the economy. Look at the year Nigeria has been preparing budget, they have been releasing. What impact? We need to assess this last budget, this 2024 budget, what impact does it create in the economy? Presently now, we are on 2025 budget. This 2025 budget, we are in the middle of the year. We have almost, we are more than the middle of the year now, almost 8 months gone out of 12 months. What impact the 2025 budget have created so far for the last 8 months? We need to know that. Another function of Ministry of Budget and Planning is to develop formats for return. Aimed at ensuring cost effectiveness in the use of government resources. This one too is one of the functions of Ministries of Budget and Planning. Ministry of Budget and Planning also carry out research on budget utilization and attainment of national or state objectives. Ministry of Budget and Planning also carry out research on budget utilization and attainment of what? National or state objective. So this is one of the functions of Ministries of Budget and Planning. Now, the next area we need to look at now is budget preparation procedure. How do we prepare budgets? What are the procedures that we follow while preparing budget? Budget implementation procedure. What are the procedure steps to follow while preparing budget? They are the step. We have some step procedure to follow while preparing budget. One of those step procedure to follow while preparing budget is what? Budget drafting phase. Budget what? Drafting phase. That is one of the phase one of budget preparation procedure. Phase two, legislative phase. While phase three is called implementation phase. Phase four, which is the last phase, is called auditing phase. So we are now going to look at all these phases one by one. We are going to elaborate them in more detail. We are going to expatiate them in more detail. So let's look at them one by one. All these phases. All this phase. So budget drafting space. Under the budget drafting space, we know that the budget cycle of government begin from January to December. But before January, the budget have to be in place. So first thing that they need to do under the budget drafting space is for the Ministry of Budget and Planning to send what is called budget circular. This budget drafting space, Ministry of Budget and Planning will send what is called budget circular. Some people call it cost circular. Cost circular is a notice issued by who? By the Ministry of Budget and Planning to every ministry and extra ministerial department, asking them to submit their what? Proposed revenue and expenditure estimates. When we want to start preparing budgets, the first thing that need to take place is what is called budget circular. Who is going to issue out the budget circular? The Ministry of Budget and Planning. The Ministry of Budget and Planning will send budget circular to every ministry and extra ministerial department. To every ministry and extra ministerial department. To every ministry and extra ministerial department. Budget circular. This budget circular is going to be sent by the Ministry of Budget and Planning to every ministry and extra ministerial department, asking them to submit their what? Proposed budget estimate, which is revenue estimate and what? Expenditure estimate. That is budget circular. After the budget circular, what is next? The budget, once the ministry or extra ministerial departments receive the budget circular, what they need to do is to prepare their own budget estimates. They will now send it to the Ministry of Budget and Planning. We call it budget estimate of department, budget department. So budget estimates. These budget estimates will be prepared by each ministry and extra ministerial department. It will show their planned revenue It will show their planned expenditure for the next year. They will now send this budget estimate. They will send it to who? They will send it to the Ministry of Budget and Planning. Ministry of Work will send its own budget estimate to Ministry of Budget and Planning. Ministry of Agriculture will send their own. Ministry of Foreign Affairs will send their own. Every ministry will send their own budget estimate. This budget estimate sometimes is called draft estimate. Draft estimate is the budget prepared by each ministry and extra-ministerial department, showing the projected revenues and expenditure in the next fiscal year. And it is sent to who? It is sent to the Ministry of Budget and Planning. Now, once the Ministry of Budget and Planning receive the budget estimate of each of the ministry and extra-ministerial department, what they will do next is to prepare what is called consolidated budgets. They will prepare their consolidated budget, and this consolidated budget, each of the Ministry of Budget and Planning, they are going to prepare what is called consolidated estimate. This consolidated estimate is the summary of all the ministry and extra-ministerial department budgets. Consolidated estimate is the summary of all the ministry and extra-ministerial department budgets. That is consolidated estimate. The summary of all the ministry and extra-ministerial department budget is called consolidated estimate. Once they prepare the consolidated estimate, they are going to send it for president for approval.
Good morning,
The president,
sir. Sorry, sir. Good morning, sir. Please come again.
which one are you referring to?
You were talking about consolidated estimate.
Yes, I'm talking of consolidated estimate. I say consolidated estimate is the summary of all the ministry and extra-ministerial department budget. Who prepared it? It is the Ministry of Budget and Planning that prepared that consolidated estimate. Once they receive the budget estimate or the draft estimate of each ministry, they will consolidate it together. It is called consolidated estimate. It is the summary of all the ministry and extra-ministerial department budget prepared by who? Ministry of Budget and Planning. So once that is done, the next thing that they need to do, once that is done, the next thing that they will do is for the Ministry of Budget and Planning to send the consolidated estimate, is to send it to who? Is to send it to the president. They will send it to the president through the Federal Executive Council. They will now look at it. Once president approve it, it has become approved estimate. Once president approve, or the governor, in the case of state budget, once they approve that consolidated estimate, it has become what? Approved estimates. Once we get the approved estimate, it is the approved estimate the president or the governor will transmit to the National Assembly or to the State House of Assembly. From that approved estimate, that one will now take us to legislative phase. Legislative phase means the phase where the National Assembly have to work on the budget. Once the National Assembly receive the approved estimate, approved budget estimate, once they receive it, what will happen? What is going to happen is the National Assembly, they will form committee to look at the areas, different areas of the budget. There will be a committee that will look at a budget that relates to Ministry of Health. There will be a committee that will look at budget that relates to Ministry of Education. There will be a committee that will look at budget that relates to Ministry of Work. National Assembly, the legislative, they will form a committee, and this committee is called what? This committee, they are called subcommittee. They will look at different areas on government budgets. They will look at it. So this subcommittee, once the committee is formed, they will now be inviting the head of agency, the head of ministry, to come and defend the budget. This subcommittee will now be inviting the head of agency, the head of ministry, to come and defend their own budgets. So we are still on legislative phase. After the head of ministry, the head of agency defend the budget, at the end of the day, the committee will now submit their report. Each of the committee that was formed to look at every area in the budget, they will now submit their report after they have invited the head of ministry and agency to come defend. During the defense of the budget amount can be reduced, the budget amount can be increased. It depends on the outcome of the defense. So during that period, if the committee now finalize their report, they will now each of the committee will submit their report to another committee called appropriation committee. This appropriation committee will receive the report of each committee set up by the National Assembly. They will now appropriate it together. Once they appropriate it together, in that case, it has become estimate. That appropriation, they will now send it to what? The appropriation committee, they will now appropriate all the report together. From the result of the appropriation, they will get what is called draft budget. Draft budget. This draft budget is the final budget. This draft budget is the budget that the National Assembly will pass into law. Once the National Assembly agree on this draft budget, they will pass it into law and send it to the president for assent. And when the president assents it, if the president sign on the budget, on the draft budget, if the president sign on it or assent it, it now become appropriation act. Once the president signed on the budget or approved the budget, it now become what is called appropriation act. This appropriation act now, the budget has been signed. The next phase is implementation phase. How do we implement budgets? If we want to implement budget, we need to release funds to the ministries and extra-ministerial departments. We need to release what? Release what? Funds to the ministries and what? Extra-ministerial departments. Funds have to be released since budget has been signed into law, so that they can implement the budget. So implementation of budget we need to release funds. By releasing funds, they carry out the action plan. That is implementation of budget. After the budget has been implemented, we have been spending the money, the fund release. The ministry have been spending it. They have been doing all the projects. After the end of the year, the budget cycle ends. The next phase that will come is somebody has to checkmate whether the money spent by the government is not overestimated, whether there is no embezzlement of government fund, whether there is no diversion of government revenue. That one will take us to the next phase called auditing phase. Auditing what? Phase. We need to audit the record, the book and record of the government. We need to audit it. That is auditing phase. That one, the function is performed by Auditor General. Auditor General is the chief external auditor of the government. Auditor General have an office and they have staff. Staff of Auditor General, they will now go to the various ministry and extra ministerial department to go and be reviewing their book and records to ensure that the money that they spend is in line with the budget, to ensure that there is no diversion of government revenue, to ensure that there is no overestimation of expenditures. So these are the budget procedure. These are the budget procedure. These are the budget procedure. Now, the next heading we need to look at is limit of budget deficits. Limit of what? Budget deficits. What are the limit of budget deficits? What are the limits of budget deficit? Budget deficit simply means when our expenditures is more than our revenue. When our expenditures is more than what? Our revenue. When our expenditure is more than our revenue, is called budget deficit. What limit do we have in our budget deficit?
Look, I'll say it again.
Limit of budget deficits. What is the maximum limit that we can have budget deficit? That means what is the maximum limit where our projected expenditure will be more than our projected revenue? The maximum limit, our budget deficit must not more than 3% of the country estimated GDP. Every year, your budget deficit in the annual budget, the country budget deficit in the annual budget must not more than what? 3% estimated what? Estimated GDP of the country. Gross domestic product is our GDP. The total value of the goods and services produced in the country. The value of the country, the GDP. Our budget deficit at any point in time must not more than 3% of the estimated GDP. However, the National Assembly can increase the limit of the budget deficit. But as at present, it is 3%. Please, let's try to mute our audio. The National Assembly may feel that, please, you are disturbing us. Who is this?
Want this one then?
Mr. Yodeji, you are disturbing us. You are distracting the class.
No, sir.
So, limit of budget deficits. The National Assembly can increase the limit if the National Assembly feel that there is need. If the need arises, the budget deficit limit can be increased. Now, what are the problems of public sector budget in Nigeria? What are the problems of public sector budget in Nigeria? What problem do we face in the public sector budget in Nigeria? What problem do we encounter while preparing government budgets in Nigeria? So what are the problems? One of the problems of public sector budget that we have is behavioral factors. Behavioral what? Factors. The behavioral factor means high level of corruption in discipline among the government official. If government say they want to spend 100 million for a project, those in charge of the fund, those in charge of the project, they will embezzle the money. If government want to procure material, those that government give the responsibility, they will go and buy substandard material. They will not spend money for quality material, quality products. It's behavioral factor, high level of corruption in discipline in the Nigeria society. People misuse government funds. People, they embezzle government funds. They take advantage of government. Those who are in charge of running the affair of the country. That is behavioral factors. Another one is high degree of environmental turbulence. High degree of what? Environmental turbulence. What does that mean? There are some environmental issues that affect the budget, like inflation. Inflation. Take, for instance, in our budget, we budget that the inflation we are talking of hyperinflation. Hyperinflation, which reduces purchasing power, is one of the uncertainty pertaining to the budget. We budget that in our budget under our capital expenditure, we are going to buy an SUV. We are going to buy 200 million. When that year reach, because of inflation, SUV is now 500 million or 300 million. That one too will affect budget. It will affect budget. Another problems of public sector budget that we have is called debt of reliable data. Debt of what? Reliable data. Debt of reliable data. Debt of reliable data. Debt of reliable data means most of the data that government use to prepare budget, those data are not realistic. You can't depend on them. They are outdated data. So the fact and figure that government used for their budgets, those fact and figure that is not realistic. So debt of reliable data is also affecting government budgets. The data are not realistic. You can't depend on the data. The data is not the fact and figures on the data. They are false. So it's one of the factors affecting government budget. Another problems of public sector budget that we have is inconsistent government policy. Government, most of the policy that government implement, they are not consistent. They are not consistent. They don't follow those policies. Immediately they implement one policy, they will not wait till that policy yield results. They will start another policy again. So every year, government normally come with new policy. They don't try to stay for a policy that will stay carry them for a long period. Of public sector budget that we have is fiscal indiscipline. Fiscal what? Indiscipline. Government, those officials of government, they spend recklessly. They want to spend every kobo in the budget. Take, for instance, in a ministry was given a budget of 500 million. And as at October, they have spent 400 million. It remains 100 million. Since the year is getting to an end, the remaining 100 million, even if they don't know what to use it for, they will be spending it recklessly so that they have zero kobo, because they believe that they must spend every money give to them finish at zero level. Because if they don't do that, in the next budget, they may reduce their budget amount. So fiscal indiscipline, government spending money recklessly, spending money without any regard, is one of the problems of government budget. Another problem of government budget that we have is delay in fund release. Delay in what? Fund. After the budget has been signed into law, they don't release fund on time. They don't release fund on time to implement the budget. The Ministry of Finance, they don't release fund to some of the ministry and department on time so that they can implement the budget. So delay in release of funds is also another problem affecting government budget. Another one is external factors. External factor means those factors that affect the country, that affect more than one country. It does not affect only Nigeria. It's a global issue, like oil glut, war, civil unrest, insurgency, reduction in the crude oil. It's not affecting Nigeria alone. It affects some other countries. Take, for instance, war between Ukraine and Russia affects some other country. That is external factor. It even affects Nigeria too. It's an external factor. So these are all the problems. We have another one, problem of inflation. That one is talking of purchasing power. Reduction in the purchasing power. So it's another problem of public sector budget. Another one is optimal use of limited resources. Government, they don't use their limited resources optimally. So they misuse their resources. They don't care what can happen. So all these are the problems of public sector budgets. All these are the problems of public sector budget. Now, classification of public sector budget. How do we classify public sector budget? Classification of public sector budget. How do we classify public sector budget? Number one classification we have, classification according to functional activities. classification according to functional activities. Classification according to functional activities. We classify budget according to the function of the government, which is the functional activities. Under the functional activities, we have revenue budget, we have overhead budget, we have personnel cost budget, and we have cash budget. Under the classification according to functional activities, we have revenue budget, we have overhead budget, we have personnel cost budget, and we have cash budget. What is revenue budget? Revenue budget simply means aggregated revenue. The aggregation, this is computed by aggregating all the various income accrued to a particular ministry, state, or local government. That means the aggregated revenue of every ministry, state, local government, when you aggregate them together, it is called revenue budget. Our revenue budget, we can divide it into two. We have oil revenue and non-oil revenue. So revenue budget simply means the total revenue that is going to federation account, consolidated revenue fund account, contingency fund account, and development fund account. All the revenue which accrue to federation account, consolidated revenue fund account. We are on purpose of revenue budgets. Why do we prepare revenue budgets? Number one purpose of revenue budget is to determine the level of aggregated income received by the government. To determine the level of aggregated income received by who? By the government. Another purpose of revenue budget, to determine the level of expenditure acceptable to the government. To determine the level of expenditure acceptable to the government. To determine area of weakness in terms of revenue generation. Another purpose of revenue budget, to determine area of weakness in terms of what? Revenue generation is another purpose of revenue budget. Another one is to identify major sources of income to the government. To identify major sources of income to the government is another purpose of what? Revenue budget. Another purpose, to plan the cash flow of the government. Another purpose of revenue budget is what? To plan the cash flow of the government. We need to plan the cash flow of the government. It's another purpose of revenue budget. Another purpose of revenue budget, to serve as a basis of controlling income and expenditure of the government. To serve as a basis of controlling income and expenditure of the government. These are all the purpose of revenue budget. We are still on classification of budget according to functional activities. Let's look at another budget called overhead cost budget. Overhead cost budget is prepared using the principles of incremental budgeting approach. Overhead cost budget is prepared using the principles of incremental budgeting approach by increasing the budget of previous year, by increasing the previous year budget expenditure by inflation rate. Overhead cost budget. Our government overhead, our recurrent expenditure means overhead. We used overhead cost budget for recurrent expenditure, printing and stationery, salaries and it's not excluding salaries and wages. Salaries and wages budget is called personnel budget. Any overhead, any other overhead that excludes salaries and wages is called overhead cost budget. Printing and stationery, repair and maintenance, telephone, motor vehicle running expenses, diesel costs, they are all overhead budgets. The next type of budget we should look at is called personnel cost budget. Personnel cost budget means the total basic salary and allowance of various government agencies, various ministries. The total basic salary and allowance of the staff of each ministry and extra ministerial department in a given period. Personnel cost budget is the total basic salary and allowances of the various category of staff in each ministry and extra ministerial department in a given what? Period. The total basic salaries, allowances of various category of staff in each ministry and extra ministerial department in a given period, it is called what? Personnel cost budget. What are the procedures for preparing personnel cost budget? What are the procedures for preparing personnel cost budget? If you want to prepare personnel cost budget, we need to look at this following procedure or factors that affect personnel cost budget. If you want to prepare personnel cost budget, we need to look at the following procedure or factors that affect personnel cost budget. What are the factors or procedures that affect personnel cost budget? Number one, identification of various positions ranging from grade level 01 to 17. Personnel cost budget means the budget for government staff, the salaries and allowances for those government staff in a given period. It is personnel cost budget. The budget for the staff of government ministry and extra ministerial department in a given period is called personnel cost budget. If we want to prepare it, we need to know the position of each staff. And each staff in government, their position, the position of each staff is called grade. And we have what? We have from grade 1 to what? 17. As a graduate, BSc holder, once you are employed as a civil servant, you will start from grade 8. I think grade 7 or 8. So we have grade 1 to 17. The highest grade you can attain as a civil servant is grade 17. Is for those who are the permanent secretary, the directors. So if you want to prepare personnel cost budgets, we need to know what grade each of the staff, each of the position in every ministry, what grade that they belong to. Another one is identification of number of staff in each post. Each of the grade, how many staff do we have in grade 1? How many staff do we have in grade 2? How many staff do we have in grade 10? Secondly, what are the number of staff that are newly promoted? What are those? How many number of staff are newly recruited? The next step is identification of grade level of each position. Identification of grade level of what? Each position. We need to identify grade level of each position. Identification of grade level of each what? Position. Each of the position occupied. We need to know the level. What this one means is that even if you are in the grade level 10, what position are you occupying? What government position do you occupy? What post? Are you a director general? Are you a permanent secretary? Are you this and that? That is the grade level of each position. The next step is identification of staff, identification of basic salary and annual incremental rate for each of the grade level, identification of basic salary and annual increment rate for each of what? The grade level is also important. What is the salary for grade level 10? What is the basic salary for grade level 17? What is the basic salary for the grade level 8? And so on like that. We have another one called identification of step, identification of number of steps in each grade level. Identification of number of steps in each grade level. We are in grade level. We have, please, let's try to mute our audio. Assuming we have 10 staff in grade level 12, the 10 staff, they may be in different steps. In public sector, we have step 1 to 5. Step 1 to what? 5. We have step 1 to 5 in public sector. Step 1 to 5. Take, for instance, you are in the grade 12, and there are 10, in that grade 12, they have 10 staff. They will be in different steps. Somebody that is in step 2 is more senior to somebody that is in step 1. If you are in the steps 5, you are the most senior staff in that grade. So each of the 10 staff in grade 12, they will be in different steps. That means somebody that is in the highest step, which is step 5, will be the most senior in that grade. Hope my explanation is clear.
Yes, sir. We understand this, sir.
So if we want to prepare personnel cost budget, we need to look at this factor. They are very important. Now, what are the formula? for using to prepare personnel cost budgets. What are the formula? If you want to prepare personnel cost budget, we have this formula called personnel cost budget is equals to incremental salary, open a bracket, X minus 1 plus basic salary, close the brackets, times N, where what? X means number of steps. If you are in the step 5, that X will be 5. If you are in the step 4, that X will be 4. N means number of staff in each of the grade, in each of the position. This is the formula that we use to compute personnel cost budgets. This is the formula that we use to compute personnel cost budgets. Personnel cost budget is equals to incremental salary, open a bracket, X minus 1 plus basic salary. You close the general bracket times N. N means number of staff in each of the grades. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at a question. Let's look at a question. Question 1. Oh yeah, somebody raise hands. Ask your question.
Okay, good morning, sir. So, my
Morning.
question is, like, I want to know this budget process now that we're learning. I can see that the shortfall, the problem we have in the budget, the budgeting process, is most of the departments that are responsible have key roles in the budgeting process not performing their duties. Because how would we have misappropriation of budget if the office of Auditor General is there? And you made mention that they have, auditors there that go to different ministry and extra ministerial to confirm that there is no misappropriation of budget. There is this entire process now that you have taught us today. And then we know that every year, Nigerian budget is largely a failure because there's always embezzlement of money, misappropriation of fund, and then which is largely affected by corruption. So what's not the essence of this lecture exactly? Knowing fully well that these people that are doing these things and had similar lectures on how to do these things, but yet it still fails. Why are we learning this?
And why you are learning this is to know you are a student of accounting, is to know the problems. Once you know the problem, so that you too can recommend solutions to the problem. Secondly, why you are learning it majorly is to know how to prepare the government budget. Once you know that the problem is corruption, as a student of accounting, how can you block those leakages that make people to embezzle government funds, to embezzle government budgets, not to implement the budget? How can to provide solutions to the problem? That is why you are learning. If you don't know the problem, you don't have solution.
So don't we have professional accountants in the Office of Auditor General of Nigeria?
Let me add to it.
This is very funny.
Let me add to it. We
Okay.
work with different ministries too. There's a loophole in our pricing pattern and our invoicing. You see, for an accountant, if they sell an item for 10 naira and you buy that thing for 20 naira in Nigeria, and you are able to back it up with a receipt, the accountant is already helpless. Because our pricing system give room for me to say, I bought quality. This one, I got it for 20 naira in the market. The one you are bringing is from Alaba. Do you see that weak point there? So people can easily say, Julius Berger is the one that do this road. It's a quality construction company. His price is 50 billion. Don't give it to N&D. N&D price is cheap, but they won't give you quality because our standardization and pricing is a weakness to budgeting. So they can budget for 2 billion to execute a project, and somebody will just use 1 billion and do an asphalt of a lesser gauge. They do a thicker gauge at the edge and do a lighter gauge at the center. When you want to test, you can't start breaking the roads. You might only just check the edge. So these are areas. That's why you see when they are doing grading of some roads, they grade to one side. You see the center might be higher, and you see the edge. They will say they want to flow water. They want to do this. So they do different things. So though ICANN has a whole lot to do because they see some of these things, and I think they should be writing recommendations on some things. Our pricing system is very poor, very, very poor. So that's one weakness. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So part of this lecture, shouldn't it include, this recommendation? Because I'm not sure I saw any. You just identified the loopholes, but yet like no detailed explanation of what we should go there to do. Because at the end of the day, we might just go there and just repeat the process.
I get you. You see, accountants too are corrupt. If Emefiele can embezzle
2
money
trillion.
from CBN, so even this lecture that we are all learning.
Thank you very much.
That's
Thank
why
you,
we have
everyone.
professional ethics too as an accountant. That's why they teach us professional ethics, the integrity, the objectivity. So they know there will always be loopholes to steal. So just maintain your integrity. If others are doing it, does not mean you to when you get there you should do it. You can actually
you can
break
make
the
it.
barriers. Yeah, make the difference.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. Let's proceed. Thank you for your contribution. So now let's look at this number one question. This is where we stop today. Let's look at it. It's a practical question. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry in Kwara State of Nigeria is about to prepare its 2010 budget for the submission to the State Budget Department. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry made available to you the following information in respect of the personnel costs. Job title, Director of Commerce, number of grade level, salary in post of the grade level. We have the job title, we have Director of Commerce, Deputy Director, Assistant Director. The number of those staff in those job title and their grade, the salary they are collecting. This salary, as it was stated, basic salary is 60,000. Incremental salary is 20,000. So if they want to express salary of a civil servant, they express it both basic and incremental. They will say basic times incremental. The basic salary here is 60,000. The incremental salary is what? 20,000. For the Director of Commerce. Let's go to the additional info. Under the additional info, all the salaries shown above are step 1 of the grade. Step what? 1 of the grade. It is the ministry policy to prepare the personnel cost budget based on step 4 of the grade level. 1 deputy director, 2 assistant director, and chief accountant are due for what? Promotion during the year. During 2010, 4 senior commercial officers will be employed to strengthen the commercial division. Staff allowance constitute 40% of staff salary. You are required to prepare in a summary form personnel cost budget for the commerce division of the ministry. Once we want to do this personnel cost budget, this formula is very important. This formula, we need to know it. This formula will help us to do the budget. Incremental salary, open a bracket, X minus 1 plus basic salary times N. In this question now, incremental salary is 20,000. X means number of steps in each grade. What is the number of steps in this question? Note 1 said it is the ministry policy to prepare personnel cost budget based on what? Step 4. That means the number of steps we are using in this question is what? Step 4. In public sector, in government, civil servant, we have step 1 to 5. They now say when we are doing this budget, we should assume every staff, everybody, they are in step 4. That means our X will be step 4. 4 minus 1. That's what we will be using. Basic salary we are giving. Take for instance, for director of commerce, the basic salary is 60,000. N means number of staff in each grade. The director of commerce is grade 17. How many number of staff do we have in director of commerce?
Nobody.
But we need to consider the additional information. Additional information, we said 1 deputy director, 2 assistant director, and 1 chief accountant are due for what?
Promotion.
That means if deputy director, which is next to director of commerce, promoted, is going to promote to what post?
Director of commerce.
Director of commerce. That means one of them will be in director of commerce. So now let's go to the solution. The solution now. Ministry of Commerce, Kwara State. Personnel cost budget cost for the year 2010. In the solution, you put the job title, you put the number of posts, you put the grade level, and you put their salaries. That is what we need in the solution. Let's start for Director of Commerce. Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
Sir, for X, you express it as number of steps in each grade instead of number of staff. You may want to correct that, sir.
Number of steps in each grade is right. Number of steps. Are you in step 1? Are you in step 2? Are you in step 3? Are you in step 4? Are you in step 5? Now, Director of Commerce. Presently, nobody in the Director of Commerce. They are in grade 17. The basic salary, 60,000. The incremental salary, 20,000. But additional information 3 said one of the deputy director is due for promotion. That means out of the 2 deputy directors we have, how many deputy directors we have? 2. One of them is going to which post?
Director of commerce.
And it remains how many?
One.
One. So let's look at the one going to the director of commerce. Let's know his salary. Let's compute his personnel cost budget. Director of commerce, you can see I put 1 under the number of staff. 1. And I put grade level 17. How did I get this 120? The personnel cost budget. Let's go to the working note. The 120, if I want to get it, the basic salary is how much? 60,000. The incremental salary is 20,000. And we know that the number of steps in each grade is 4. 4 minus 1. Remember the formula. Let's go to the formula. The formula starts from incremental salary, but my own solution, I start it for basic salary. I can rewrite it. I can rewrite it this.
What if we follow the formula? It starts from incremental salary. Are we still getting the same thing?
You are still getting the same. So now, incremental salary, 20,000. The number of steps, 4. 4 minus 1.
3.
3 times 20,000.
60,000.
60,000 plus the basic salary.
120,000.
120,000. How many staff do we have in Director of Commerce? How many?
1.
120,000 times 1.
120,000.
So that is how we get for Director of Commerce, which is 120,000. We move to the next person called Deputy Director of Commerce. Deputy what? Director of Commerce. For the Deputy Director of Commerce, they have 2 presently, Abby.
Yes, sir.
But 1 have moved. It remains what?
1.
Let's go to the additional information. They said 2 assistant directors are due for promotion. 2 assistant directors is going to be promoted to which post?
Director of Commerce.
No.
Director.
To the what?
Deputy Director, sorry.
To the Deputy Director. We have 1 on ground already. 1 plus 2.
3.
3.
3. That means, look at our solution. It will be 3. We have. Do you know how we get the 3?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's go and calculate his personnel cost. Since we have 3. Their basic salary for the Deputy Director is 55. But their incremental salary is 18,000. 4 is the number of steps. 4 minus 1, 3. 3 times 18,000.
54.
64 plus the basic salary, which is 55,000. That is what? 54,000 plus 55,000.
109.
109 times what?
3.
Times 3.
327.
327.
327.
That is how we get 327. We move to the next step.
Line.
This one?
Say yes, what's that sign about, sir?
No. Ignore it. You know,
Okay,
the solution is in Excel. So I supposed to hide it. It's not part of the solution. the other line. I lifted it from Excel. That is how it's showing. Please ignore this line.
Okay, sir.
So I want to ask, so that means that Deputy Director of Commerce, the total number of staff in that grade will get 327. Not that each of them will get 327. I just want to confirm
The
that.
total will get 327.
Okay.
So what's this
Now,
incremental column meant for? What's the meaning of that incremental they have in the question?
incremental means when you are in step 1, let's for instance now, if you are in step 1, you only collect salary of 60,000. But if you are in step 2, you will collect 60,000 plus how much?
20,000.
If you are in step 3, you will collect salary of 60,000 plus 20,000 plus another what? Plus another 20,000. As your step is increasing, your incremental salary too is doing what?
It's increasing.
Take for instance, somebody that is in this grade is now in step 5. How many 20,000 is going to collect addition to the salary of 60,000?
4.
4.
Am I correct?
You are correct. Because if you are in step 1, you only collect 60,000. You will not collect incremental at all.
Okay, sir.
If you are in step 2, you will collect 60,000 plus 1 incremental. If you are in step 3, you will collect 60,000 plus how many incremental?
2 incremental.
2 incremental.
So, that is the thing. So let's go to the one of assistant director. In the question, how many assistant director do we have in the question?
We have 3.
3.
How many number of assistant director we have?
3.
3. You ask yourself, out of these 3, anyone promoted to deputy director?
Yes, sir.
How many was promoted?
1.
How many assistant director was promoted to deputy director?
1.
2.
2.
Yes.
Do you understand? 2. Please, let's try to mute our audio. 2 was promoted. Out of 2 promoted, it remained how many?
1.
You now ask yourself, the next position
Make una mute now.
oh God. Who is this now?
From your hand.
How do I
Sir, if you can auto-mute, please mute everybody.
I'm not the admin. I'm not the admin.
Is your Deji now? He has been
Why
unmuting his mic.
moving us now?
So for the assistant director, we have 1 remaining. Abi?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Out of the 1 that remain, chief accountant is the next. Does any chief accountant promoted to assistant director?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
From the additional information.
Where is the additional information?
Yes, additional information too.
One chief
So
accountant.
our solution now,
accountant.
how many chief accountant, how many assistant director we have?
2.
2.
2 assistant director. 2. Grade level 15. Let's go and compute the personnel cost for the assistant director. The basic salary 50,000. The initial salary, incremental salary 15,000. 4 minus 1, 3.
That's 45,000.
So for the assistant director, the personnel cost is 190. 190,000.
Sorry, sir. Can we show the workings of that incremental rate of 15,000? Based on your
15,000 times 3. 30,000, Abi?
45,000.
45,000. 45,000 plus 50,000. That is 95,000.
95, yes.
95,000 times what?
2.
It will give us 190,000.
190,000.
Hello, do you understand my question, sir?
Yes. What is your question?
The incremental rate of 15,000. Like, can we see the workings? You know, you were trying to explain the incremental rate the other time when a lady asked the question. You know, if we can just do the workings. So let's see how we get this 15,000 naira from the workings.
From which workings?
The question. Is the 15,000 naira fixed?
Look at the 15,000 under the assistant director.
Okay, we are given in the question already.
Yes.
Okay.
What?
But will there be cases where we won't be given in the question?
No, it will be given.
Okay.
They will give us the incremental salary.
I wanted to ask similar question. When you are trying to explain incremental the other time, you said somebody on step 1 will not get that.
Okay, now let me explain. Okay, now let me explain something now. This assistant director now, their basic salary is how much?
50,000 naira.
And they are in step 4 because the question says we should be using step 4. How many incremental salary that they will collect if they are in step 4?
They will collect
3.
3
Yes,
times
sir.
15.
45.
If you plus it plus the basic salary, that is how much? 95. How many staff do we have in the assistant director of commerce?
Now we are having
2. For one of them is 95. 95 times what?
Times 2.
You get 190.
That means it has been worked out in the X minus 1.
And now I don't go sit now. The thing with me, but I don't have a choice.
Yeah. You don't have
There's another one in the afternoon again.
Please, I'm sorry. I will talk to the admin by our next class.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we have to mute all of us so that we can enjoy the class.
Unmute.
Oh.
Let's look at chief accountant. Chief accountant, they have 4 staff. 4. Out of the 4 staff, how many were promoted? How many were promoted?
1.
1. That means it remains how many?
3.
3. The next position to chief accountant is assistant chief accountant. Does any of them promoted to chief accountant in the question? No. Abi?
No, sir.
So that means we maintain our 3 in our solution for chief accountant 3. So if you go and compute it, chief accountant, the incremental salary is 12,000. 4 minus 1, 3. 3 times 12, 36. 36 plus 45. That is 81.
81.
81 times 3, 243. That is for chief accountant. Assistant chief accountant, in the question we have 5. Nothing changed. No addition, no subtraction. We still maintain the 5. Now, let's look at the one of senior commercial officer. How many do we have in the senior commercial officer in the question?
8.
8. But additional information tells us something.
Additional 4.
That 4
To be
senior
employed.
that we are commercial officers.
4 plus 8.
12.
That's true.
That means senior commercial officer will be 12. Grade level 10. And we get the amounts. At the end of the day, we are going to do it for each of the staff, starting up to the cleaners. When we now get up to the cleaner, we add all the salary together. We get subtotal. The question now said staff allowance is 40% of salary. That means staff allowance is 40% of the subtotal. 40% of 6,315,000. It will give us 2,526,000. The grand total for this personnel cost budget is now going to be both subtotal and staff allowance, 8,841,000. So this one looks simple. This personnel cost budget looks simple. We know the procedure, the step. We cannot just be looking them one by one. It will take our time. So let's look at the second question on this personnel cost budget. That one is more I can say that one is more technical than the first one. Let's look at the second one. We are stopping at personnel cost budget today. By next week, we move to cash budgets. So let's look at second question on personnel cost budget. Owode local government. Obafemi, Owode local government. Obafemi, Owode local government is about to prepare his 2009 budget. The following figure was made in respect of personnel cost of the work department for the year 2008. Office, number, grade level. The first staff that we have is called city engineer and is in the grade level 16. The basic salary is 24,000. Why the incremental salary is what? 2,004. We have the next post, deputy city engineer. We have 1 staff. Basic salary 20,000, incremental 1,008. Let's go to the additional info. The additional info means tell us that the deputy city engineer is due for what?
Promotion.
1 senior engineer and 12 artisan grade are to be what? Appointed. The following are the salary range stated below. They are telling us that as at the time we are doing the budget, there's number of steps for each of the posts stated in the question. Take, for instance, this deputy city engineer, the number of steps that this deputy city engineer was, why he was a deputy city engineer, is in what step?
Step 1.
Step 3.
3.
Deputy city engineer is step 1. Yeah.
Step
Oh,
3.
step 2.
Step
Oh,
3.
sorry.
Look at the salary scale. We have one. This is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5.
Yes, step 2.
Look at deputy city engineer. After the deputy city engineer, principal engineer, how many do we have?
2.
We have 4.
2. The 2 of them, let's go and look at the step that they belong to.
Step
2.
One is in what?
One is in step 1, the other is in step 2.
Is in step 2. Look at senior engineer. How many senior engineers do we have?
5.
Let's go and look at their step.
Step 3 and 4.
Step 3 and 4.
4 and 3.
Do you understand this table now?
Yes.
Except additional information 4 said, except those on promotion, each member of staff will move to what?
To the next
The
step.
next incremental step.
They said except those on promotion, each member of staff, they are going to move to next implementers. What that one means is that, take for instance, this principal engineer that is in step 1, while doing the personnel cost budget, is going to be in what step?
Step 2.
Step 2. The one that is in step 2 is going to be in what step?
Step 3.
Step 3.
Like senior engineer 2, that is in step 2, that is in step 3, they will move to what step?
4 and 5.
5.
That is what that question is saying. Staff allowance is 20% of salary. You are required prepare the personnel cost budget for the work department for the year 2009. Ignore the comparative figure of 2008. So let's go and prepare the personnel cost budget. Obafemi Owode, local government, work department, personnel cost budget for the year 2009. The first person we have is called what?
Deputy site engineer. Site engineer.
City engineer. Abi?
Yes,
how many
sir.
staff do we have in the city engineer?
None.
None. But we were told that what?
The deputy city
It's due
engineer
for
is just
promotion.
Due for promotion.
Is promoted. It's going to be in what?
City engineer.
It's going to be in city engineer. That means the number of staff we have in city engineer in our solution will be 1. Grade level 16. Look at the salary of city engineer. 24 is the basic salary. Incremental salary is what?
2,400.
Now let's go and complete. Now, once this city engineer is this deputy city engineer is now promoted to city engineer, what step is he going to be?
Step 1.
step.
No incremental.
He's going to be in step 1 because the question said, except those on promotion, each member of staff will move to next step. Once you are just promoted to a new step, you are just promoted to a new position, a new grade, you start from what step?
1. Wow.
Step 1. So let's go and see. City engineer, the basic salary is 24,000. The number of steps of city engineer is what? 1. 1 minus 1.
0.
0 times 22,004.
0.
0. That means we have 24,000 left. 24,000 times 1.
24,000.
Do you know how we get this?
Okay, we will still apply that incremental rate x minus 1 plus basic into n.
Yes.
Okay.
But it will give us 0. This one, once we do everything, it will give us 0. 0 plus 24. 24. Abi?
Yes.
24 times 1.
24.
Do we understand? Do we understand?
Yes,
So
sir.
if we still do that increment, okay, I've gotten it. But if
No.
because you said with basic salary,
Yes, I start with basic salary.
if it starts with that incremental rate,
It's still the same thing. Now,
The best is even the
after city engineer, we have deputy city engineer. How many do we have in the deputy city engineer now? How many number of staff do we have there now?
None.
0. Abi?
yes.
Yes, sir.
And nobody was promoted to deputy city engineer. We are not told. That means in our solution, deputy city engineer 0, grade level 15, salary 0. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
We move to the next person called principal what?
Engineer.
Engineer. How many staff do we have?
We have
2.
2. And if you go and look at this table, 1 is in step 1. Moving to what step in our budget? That each member of staff will move to next step.
Step 2.
2 and 3.
Why the one in step 2 we move to what step?
Step 3.
Step 3.
Let's go to the solution. For the principal engineer, 15 is the basic salary. Incremental salary 1, 2. First one, the one that is in step 1, moving to step 2, that one will be 2 minus 1. Abi?
Yes.
Times
Yes, sir.
1,002.
1,002.
1,002 plus 15,000.
16,002.
16,002 times what?
Times 1. 16,002.
Why the second one that is in step 2, moving to step 3, it will be 3 minus what?
1
Minus
times 2.
That is what?
2.
3,000, 2,004, Abi?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Plus 15,000.
17,004.
Times what?
Times 1. That's 17,004.
The two of them, you do what?
Add them together.
How much is it giving us? 33,600. That will be in our solution.
Is it compulsory to put the column for grade level?
Yes, it's compulsory. Now, the next person is senior what?
Engineer.
Senior engineer.
How many do we have in senior engineer?
5.
5.
No,
5.
excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Sir, I did not really get that this principal engineer from where you have that salary scale. One is in office 1 and office 2, which is 2. 1, 1. Then they said all staff are moving to the next level. So I was thinking that this principal
next increment.
Okay, and the next incremental step is this deputy city engineer, right? I really did not get the bracket inside where you have 2 minus 1 and 3 minus 1. That's where my confusion is coming from.
Yes,
Hello,
sir,
can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Yeah,
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, what we are saying now is, let's look at the one of senior engineer. Senior what?
engineer.
We have 5 senior engineer, Abi?
Yes.
Sir, someone
5
asked
in
you a
number.
question. Oh, we're supposed to answer that. Sir. Sorry.
I thought I've answered the question. I've answered the question now.
Your network was breaking, so
Sir, you did
she
not.
didn't get.
Okay, what is the question? What is the question?
My question is for that principal engineer, the second line where
Yes.
you have 3 minus 1, how did you get it?
See, look at this particular statement. This particular statement said, if somebody is in step 1 in this table, while you are doing your personnel cost budget, you move into what step? Step 2. If anybody is in step 2, you move into what step? Step 3. Like this senior engineer, this principal engineer, we have 2 staff in the principal engineer. One of them is in step 1. If we want to do our budget, it will be 2 minus 1 for this person is in step 1 because he's moving to step 2. Why the one is in step 2 is moving to what step?
3.
Step
That's
3.
3.
This statement is the one that tells us like that.
Okay, thank you. I understand.
So I also have a question.
Okay, what is your question?
My question is on this statement, except for those on promotion. I want to know why is it that those on promotion will now, maybe instead of returning the step they are, as they are being promoted, they remain on the previous step they are. Why would they go back to step 1, sir?
If you are promoted to a new step, you will start from step 1. As maybe after 2 years, they will move it to step 2. After 4 years, you move to as your number of years is increasing in that grade, your step 2 will be doing what? Will be increasing. By the time you move to steps 5, that means you are due for promotion to the next what? To the next what? Next grade.
That's great.
But sometimes you may be in step 3, you are promoted to the next grade. It's not necessary you are in step 5 before you are promoted. Do you understand the logic?
Yes, I do.
Now, for senior engineer, we have 5 staff, but additional information is telling us that 1 senior engineer and 12 artisans is to be appointed. That means they want to employ what?
1 senior engineer.
1 senior engineer. If they employ 1 senior engineer, they have 5. That will make them how many?
6.
So for the senior engineer, they are 6. 6. Look at my solution. Senior engineer, 6 in terms of number. Grade level 10. Let's go and compute. For the 1 senior engineer that was just employed, what step are we going to give to somebody that was just employed?
Step 1.
Step 1.
Step 1. For the senior engineer now, 1 minus 1 for the new
0.
person times 950, 0,
0.
plus 12,000, that is 12,000. 12,000 times 1.
12,000.
Secondly, for the 5 remaining, out of the 5 remaining, let's go and check this table. 2 is in what step before?
3.
Step 3.
It's going to move to what step?
4.
To step
Step
4.
4.
So 2 is in step 3, moving to what step? 4.
4.
That one will be 4 minus what?
1.
Times 950 plus 12,000. You now times it by what?
2.
Times 2.
29,700.
29,700. That 3 is in step 4.
4.
3 is in step 4, Abby. Moving
Yes,
to what
sir.
step?
Step 5.
Step 5.
5 minus 1
4.
times 950
3,800. 3,800.
times 3.
11,400.
Hello.
So, hello. At the end of the day, the total amount of senior engineer is how much?
89,100.
9,100.
89,100. For the engineer 1, how many do we have in engineer 1? How many staff?
We have 8.
8 staff.
8.
Abby,
Yes, sir.
let's go to the table. For the 8 staff, 2 is in step 1, moving to step 2. 3 is in step 3, 2, moving to step 3. 3 is in step 3, moving to step 4. Abby?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So we go. Engineer 1, the 1. 2 minus 1 times
1.
860.
860.
That is 860. 10,860 times 2, 21,720.
Yes, sir.
Second one, 3 minus 1
2.
times 860.
1,720.
1,720.
Plus 10,000
That's
11,720.
11,720.
times 3.
35,160.
So the third one, 4 minus 1
3.
times 860.
$2,580.
Plus 10,000.
12,580.
That is what?
37,740 in total.
Addition of everything is 94,620. So in the solution, 94,620. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how you are going to continue for this too. So time cannot permit us to solve everything. We are almost around, we are late already. This is almost 10:35. So thank you for having me.
Please, sir.
Do you have any questions?
Sir, before
Okay, what is your question?
This particular this thing, study pack you sent this morning before you started, is it only meant for you?
The reason why I sent study pack this morning, because it has solution. My own solution is always in the Word. It's not in Excel. That is it's meant for me. The other lecturer provides the solution in Excel. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir. Or it's for you alone. All the topics allocated to you is in the pack you just sent.
Yes.
Okay.
Why
So
I use it like that? Because my solution is already included. That is why I'm sending it to
okay,
you
yeah.
separate.
Then
So
this is the third topic, I mean. Is this your top topic?
yes,
The first two, please help us send. I have the second, I don't have, but for others that are always also joining for the first time, the first two topics, please, can you help us send as well? Please,
no
sir.
problem, no problem. I will do that.
Thank you.
Any
Sir,
other question?
yes, you did some corrections in this your notes. So can you send this one?
I will do that. I will do that. I will do that.
Sir, please send
And
all from the first topic to this one. Just resend for those that are just joining new. Thank you, sir.
okay, okay. Thank you very much.
Sir, please, let's
David,
continue this class. Let's continue this topic. So we don't really. So let's not move to any topic yet. Can we do another question? Or I don't know.
this is 10:37. We are
Not,
late. We were
not
supposed
now,
to.
not now. In our next
Yeah, by
class, can
next
we
week we are going to
revisit this
continue. We
one?
are going to
Okay.
move to cash budget by
Okay.
next week. Yes.
Yes, sir, I have a question, sir.
So,
Sir, please,
what?
does the national minimum wage play any role in computation of this personnel budget?
This is not tax, my brother. It's budget. It's not playing a role. Assuming we are in the task now, I'm one of the lecturer taking you task. I will take you personal income task. So for those who attend task class, they will know what I'm saying. So when we are in task, we can talk about minimum wage. This is a budget. It does not affect.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Have a nice day.